Reverend John, please unmute yourself.
Sorry. Good morning, everyone. I will come back a step. Good morning. Everyone forgets things. So welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hundoke with Reverend Yutaka. So let's begin with a bow to our true parents, Chariot, Kyombe, Paro. And let's offer family pledge in Korean and in English.
가정만세 3. 전일국 주인, 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과 환족권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 3. Our family, the owner of Cheongguk, pledges to perfect the 4 great realms of heart, the 3 great kingships, and the realm of the royal family by centering on true love. And I'd like to ask Greg Hansen if he could offer the opening prayer. Just unmute yourself, Greg.
Yeah, please join me in prayer. Good morning, our dearest Heavenly Parent, and Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother. Heavenly Parent, we are starting our Hondak 11th day today, and we want to find how to have a good day, to start in a new way, to improve on our previous days, always going forward. So, Heavenly Parent, thank you so much we could join together and praying for our leaders, Reverend Yutaka and Reverend John here, and that we can really learn new things and also learn to share our hearts more. So Heavenly Parent, I'm grateful for this life you give us and the blessings that every day, and sometimes we don't recognize, but Heavenly Parent, let's go forward supporting our true mother, especially in this time, and we're really hopeful that we can achieve good results for 2027, and we want to again dedicate ourselves and invest ourselves in this time together. So pray this in our names as a blessed central family, Greg and Eliza Hansen. Aju.
Aju. Yeah, good morning, everyone, and welcome to come to our Sunday service together. Well, I don't know, I'm at a time. So let's welcome Reverend Yutaka. Yes.
You can see the PowerPoint, right? Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming today. Also, the morning Fundokai together with our old brothers and sisters. And in the beginning of the day, we really appreciate to offer our heart to our heavenly parents and true parents, reading and pray together, and also sharing our heart and also our realization together. So I hope today also start the new day and new beginning together with our mother's word. So let's start. Everyday heroes. The end of winter can be bitterly cold, but no matter how cold it is, when spring comes, and its warmth envelops the earth, we quickly forget that there ever was a winter. The bitter cold of humanity's winter is receding, and as Heavenly Parent's warmth envelops the earth, it will be forgotten. We feel this warmth at our Sonhak Peace Prize events, such as its second biannual convention that took place in Seoul on February 3, 2017. So Mother mentioned about the weather. When we see the weather, if the spring come, when spring come and its warmth envelop the earth, we quickly forget that there ever was a winter. A bitter cold of humanity's winter is receding, as Heavenly Parent's warmth envelop the earth, it will be forgotten. So this is our nature and also the weather. So now in summer in Oceania, or especially Australia, New Zealand area is summer. So if winter finish and summer come, then we quickly forget about difficulty or coldness of winter. I don't know this Australia summer, now not so much hot. It's some strange, right? Yeah, I heard last year or before there was so many bushfire, but this time is really some strange weather. So anyway, I don't know, New Zealand is similar summer, same summer. This time is hot in New Zealand or not so much hot?
A bit cooler.
Cooler.
Not too hot. 20s.
Oh yeah. I think Australia is also a little bit strange, right? So anyway, even we are facing the difficult situation, but really some beautiful environment, more Heavenly Parents love alive, the old past, bitter cold, bitter suffering, or all painful situation will be gone, Mother said. And I think really this is kind of the hope. Even we pass the difficult situation, but always our heart become the full of suffering continuously, even after getting the happiness, then really this is the challenging. But like the winter, of course now currently, even we are facing the challenging or difficulty in some area, but once release everything, then our heart will be covered and those suffering will be forgotten. That's why we can see the hope, to creating the hope and to overcoming the challenging because of a future hope. So Mother also talking about this matter. So let's see. That very busy day began by my personally welcoming hundreds of guests. These men and women hailed from 80 countries, representing various races, speaking many languages, and following different paths of faith. I tried to create an environment in which everyone would freely greet the strangers around them and quickly become friends. Even they are coming from the different nation or several background. But if there is a common goal or common purpose, all people can be united and easily to become friends and become one. So this Trimada is talking about a second Sonhak Peace Prize. So yesterday we discussed about the first Sonhak Peace Prize, but this one is the second Sonhak Peace Prize. So let's read. The warmth of spring was the setting in which I remembered my guest that many people in the world are friendless and hungry. Many families have been driven from their homelands. As a child refugee myself, I know there are no words to express the misery of being forced to flee one's home due to the devastation of war. The Sonnak Peace Prize is an initiative through which I can issue the call for solution to the painful plight of refugee and prevent livelihood from being destroyed. I look for righteous but heralded pioneers of peace, honor them, and strongly encourage them. So this talking about the second Sonnak Peace Prize. The theme of second Sonnak Peace Prize was refugee. That's why Mother mentioning and Mother saw the person who are suffering in the refugee. And even Mother herself was refugee before, from North Korea to South Korea, and even under the war, she saw and she had experienced by herself. That's why she could felt the real feeling of refugee. And Mother said, I look for righteous, but unheralded pioneers of peace, honor them and strongly encourage them. That's why Mother is not only looking for the righteous person who are prepared by God, but in the same time, there is a person who is efforting and who is investing and sacrificing for creating peace and creating the new environment and try to solve the problem. That's why Mother try to find those persons to encourage them and also honor them in order for them to stand strongly and also continue to make a way of peace. So in the society, there is very many people to working and living like this. How we can see them, how we can recognize or honor them. We can search more and we can find those person more. So the second set of Sonnak Peace Prizes presented in 2017 went to two such people, Dr. Sakena Jacobi and Dr. Gino Strada. Do not look like celebrities, they look like everyday people. Those persons who are sacrificed inside of the society or behind of the world, they are not kind of a special, beautiful appearance. They are living for more for the others, more than themselves, just simply but continuously to sacrifice and to support the people. So this is the first person, a gentlemanly middle-aged European with ruffled hair is a gifted surgeon and founder of an international medical relief organization. Dr. Gino Strada from Italy is a surgeon and humanitarian whose work over the past 28 years provided emergency medical care for more than 9 million refugees and victims of war in the Middle East and Africa. So when we learn about his life, just for 28 years, past 28 years, he provided emergency medical care for more than 9 million refugees. How much we can really recognize those persons in the society and really sacrifice and investment. And during 28 years, this kind of a service for 9 million refugees, there are still many kind of refugee is existing. So really this is a suffering life. I don't know, there are refugees in your nation, in each place? Many refugees? Yeah, still many refugees, right?
Yes.
Yes. That's why we can recognize those persons' life. This is the women's side. A motherly woman with a sun-weathered face, framed by a black hijab, has brought thousands of young women hope. Dr. Sakina Yacobi of Afghanistan is an educator, referred to as the Afghan mother of education. She has worked in Afghan refugee camps for more than 20 years, helping refugee and displaced people resettle. She has risked her life to teach, encouraging people to hope for a better tomorrow, even in the face of enormous obstacles. In response to her award, Dr. Jacobi wrote to me in her clear handwriting, expressing her heartfelt gratitude. When we think about the refugees' life, actually they are difficult to see their future because they don't have a house, they don't have a nation. This is really the miserable situation, but still they are looking for the new nation, a new world, a new future. Then they will run away or came out from own nation to find the new place. I met also the several refugee. Some background is refugee in Australia. Many Vietnamese or many Myanmar. They are also coming from the refugee background, but they are living now effort and they are standing well in the good position, but still they share their suffering or difficult refugee experience. When they came out from their nation, they stay in the small boat for many days. They couldn't go out from the boat, and even they decide together with their family to go out and to go same place. But some of them, during the moving the nation time, they are separated, then they could not meet their family anymore. That's why really refugee life is really not easy situation. And just around us, we can see those persons who are really suffering but overcome and coming this nation or another place. But in the same time, still there are many refugees in another nation or another place. So really, Chirmada recognize those suffering person or those persons who are investing and really sacrificing for others. This itself to let people know how much those refugee life or how much suffering people is existing in our society even now. How much we are recognizing those people. So this lady, Afghanistan lady, sent the letter to Chirmada. So let's read the letter to Chirmada. It is really, really wonderful. The wonderful award itself is really big. It's comparable to the Nobel Peace Prize. My life is in danger all the time. In the morning, I get up. In the evening, I don't know whether I will be alive or dead. Knowing that somebody values you in your work helps a lot. Also, I want to say to Mother Hakchahamun that I am really thankful to her because she gives me credit for what I do. It means a lot to me. So she said, knowing that somebody values you in your work helps a lot, even without recognition. She is also continuously invest, and Mother just to recognize herself itself is already the big help for those person. Korea is a country that I admire because you have been to war. You have suffered, but with your determination, hard work, sincerity, and wisdom, you have accomplished a lot in a really short time. I hope and pray that someday my country can use your country as a role model. So when we read this letter, just purely, just simply, or just pure heart, just appreciate to mother. So sacrifice for others without anybody's suggestion or anybody's direction, just she herself to offer her life for others. This life itself is really the precious things, and we can learn those her attitude. Putting her own life in danger, Dr. Jacobi continues to fight for women and children. While we are comfortably at home eating warm meals, many are being driven from their homes, uprooted, their life in pain and anguish, their lives completely shattered. This is the time to bring this sad tragedy to an end. So those main story about Mr. Strada and Dr. Jacobi, and especially about the refugee. So they are actually same people, same few human beings with us, but their life is totally different. The place where we will born, or place where the parents who they are parents of us, those parents, we could not decide by ourselves. If we are born in Australia, if we are born in island nation, and our life, our destiny almost decided. Some environmental background is decided already. And the person who are living, or person who are born in the refugee or those kind of difficult country, their starting point were already decided. Among them, surely there is the person who are great ability, great person, and also everyone has a specialty from God. But someone even could not open their ability or their possibility, somebody is going to die without opening their possibility, or even without spending or living for their future or their life. We are talking about to make a one family under God. We want to make those kind of world under God. All thing people is the brothers and sisters together. Then how many suffering people we are recognizing in our society? How about island nation? We could recognize in island nation's life. Maybe many of you already, you are the missionary, or you spend the time with them, you can recognize well how much their life. And many also stay in Africa, or you visited to South America, you could see the many persons' life already. And not only this small nation or suffering nation, in even the bigger city or bigger nation is also same. Looks like they are living well. Even among our brothers and sisters, same. Even our inside of our blessed family is also same. How many people's internal situation or inside of their heart do we recognize, or do we understand or not? Just they are sitting beside of us, but how much we are recognizing or understanding their heart, their suffering situation or their difficult situation. Of course, we can see those refugee or challenging or suffering person in somewhere in the world, but those person is actually not only some another story just beside of us or just around us. And important point is our heart, how really we can recognize those person or suffering or their situation. That's why as our community, our goal and our purpose, of course we are going to fulfill our mission and also God's providence or God's will. But in the same time, we will create the ideal community from each of us. We are everyday gathering and we can see each other. This is really the precious or great moment. And in the same time, around our brothers and sisters, around us, how much we know their suffering or situation. That's why really we should concern more or sometimes visit more or encourage them and listen them and listen us. When we create this environment to cooperate together, then we can see the real happiness and real hope. When we have this kind of mindset, and we can also recognize or find those suffering person in the society. That's why even the good environment externally, but we have to be friend with them and recognize them and also honor them. If we find and solve and go together, surely we can create the ideal nation and ideal world. So today Mother is talking about the second Sonnak Peace Prize, especially the topic is the refugee. So I think we can find again what's the Heavenly Parents hope to each of us and what kind of message really you want to give us. We are still going to the Vision 2027 and we are stand well to go the new way, but in the same time, we really consider our all brothers and sisters together, encourage, and let's go for the future. So today we are sharing this one. So today is new day. Let's have good heart, good vision, and let's create the beautiful day. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend Yutaka. Right. So, yeah. So, just waiting for him to close his screen so we can see everyone. All right. Okay. And just remind people it's good to put it yourself into gallery view. That way you get to see everyone. We've got 41 of us connected together and many couples. So good to see everyone. And refugees is something that's connected because my parents were refugees coming to Australia during the Second World War. And there are many everyday heroes, is the title, and there are many everyday heroes with a lot of circumstances. And as Reverend Yutaka said, you don't really know until you hear their story. And there's many stories of refugees coming to Australia, some in really horrendous circumstances and almost dying along the way, especially many of the Vietnamese boat people that came to Australia. That was the case. a number of boats didn't come. So it's a very desperate situation. Growing up in Australia as a child of a refugee and in a country that's mixed with welcome and mixed with prejudice. So it's they go from a war situation, to Australia, very grateful, and also at the same time, still struggling. So I just remember my parents, not speaking the language, not understanding even anything. Australia's so developed, and where my parents came from, a small Greek island, they had no electricity, no, just completely uprooted and came here. So yeah, when I think about that, I appreciate that there are countries around the world that refugees can go to. And if we didn't have places for refugees to go to, then there'd be a lot more people still in suffering. So it's a very sobering thought. So I'd just like to open it up to others, who would like to go first. Yes, Douglas. Okay.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you.
Morning.
There's so few of us, but what Mother highlighted, refugees, but also people of note, people who really are doing something for other people. And the fact that there are so few of us, I think we had an experience with reaching out to a notable person. And I regret that I have so often not continued it. But Mary and I do reach out to Christian music groups, and we send them True Father's autobiography and write them letters and try to develop a relationship. But in 2006, at the 2 or 3 year development for the inauguration of Universal Peace Federation, and this is the key, you go to the newspapers, and when you see someone who has done something very notable, you communicate with them and you write with them. So it happened to be the one person that we chose was the winner of the Australian of the Year Youth Award. And his name was Tim Wright. So we wrote him by letter, and we developed a communication with him, and he came to the ceremony where Cook Jinim was speaking in Melbourne. So John Bellavance invited him to offer the flowers to Cook Jinim with another sister. And that's the one thing he participated with. And then Ann Bellavance invited him to her high school, where he spoke 2 times. I think Ann would know more about that. But if we concentrate on people of note, they develop over time. And I hadn't seen this man's name, Tim Wright, for quite a long time. And then 3 years ago, he won actually the Nobel Peace Prize, which was absolutely amazing. It was the first time the Nobel Peace Prize was given to a group of people for their work to help bring nuclear disarmament in 2017. So every day there's people of note in newspapers. And our best use of time would be to make a commitment to write to those people we read about that are really living and doing wonderful things. Okay. So.
Okay, thank you. Someone else like to make a comment? Raise your hand. Yes, Jeff. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, anyway, this is the era we're living in now. Of course, New Zealand, being a mother type nation, has always had island people coming here. We have the biggest island population in the world is in New Zealand. They came here for education, and yeah, to be educated really and make a better life for themselves. And that's really been the good fortune of New Zealand to do that, because they have greatly helped us. And even our work as our movement in New Zealand, because they are the strongest Christian kind of communities in New Zealand, or among them anyway, which is going to greatly help us. They've always appreciated New Zealand for looking after them and helping them. So that's been a great thing. This, as you know yourselves, you have been recognizing in Australia, giving awards to people for their work in the community. And in New Zealand, we haven't done a lot of that except recognize ambassadors of peace, but nationally, we have a regular program in New Zealand that is finding people who have been working simply in their communities and giving them an award. Like it's on national TV. It's like a particular news program that finds people around New Zealand that are, you know, helping and recognize them, often giving them like $10,000, you know. So this is kind of like the era like that. And so it's pretty, yeah, it's just an amazing time, an awakening of human beings in such developed countries as ours that can do that, to take people from those countries where they've been struggling. And recently there's been, as you know, probably on your news in Australia, this woman who was went and joined this terrorist organization in Syria. And then she has 2 children. And so Turkey's been wanting to kick them out, or at least send them back to where they came from. So there was this little discussion between Australia and New Zealand. And so New Zealand is accepting this woman, which is a great thing, because we can heal people and change them and love them as a mother nation. Australia is a big, strong father type nation to protect us, maybe militarily, which is great for New Zealand. But New Zealand has a mother's heart, you know, so we can help in another way, you know, we can care for people. So it's like real teamwork, you know, in our region. So yeah, anyway, this is incredible what mother has been doing and father has been doing. And the spirit of that is traveling around the world, and we can all get on board to see it in this way. So anyway, thank you.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Okay.
I'm here.
Yep.
Can I share?
Yes, fantastic.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good morning. I joined church in 1999 October, and then right after I joined church, I became full-time as a frontline student, full-time student also, and joining the activities. I started pioneering a CAP center. 2000 December, there was a big conference in Nepal. I'm not sure there was like worldwide conference or not, but in Nepal, and we were asked to do a conference in Bhutan also. But it was not easy to enter Bhutan for a conference. So leaders that time, they thought of doing the representative conference for Bhutan in Nepal. There was a Bhutanese refugee camp in Nepal, and still there are some Bhutanese refugees living in Nepal. Later, the International Office of Migration, they started migrating those Bhutanese refugees to Australia, America, Canada, and other countries. But there was a lot of Bhutanese refugees in Nepal those times. So luckily, I was one of the staff chosen to go to Bhutanese refugee camp and to do the conference in Bhutanese refugee camp. So there were 3 of us. One was a former national leader of Philippines that time, Michael Zablan, and me and one other brother. We went to Bhutanese refugee camp. We set up the things with the refugee camp office, and we had a nice people came to attend, and Michael Zaplan read to father's speech. After that, few Bhutanese refugee members living in Nepal, they became very good friends with us. So we asked them if they want to know more about Family Federation, and they were interested, and we invited them for Divine Principle workshop. So we hosted a 3-day Divine Principle workshop. There were around 30 from the Bhutanese refugee camp. We became very close with them. They actually were very happy people when we see them, but inside there was a pain, you know, there was a pain because they had to leave their country. Their parents had to leave their country. Some of them were born in Nepal. And later I realized once True Father spoke that since we do not have connection with Heavenly Parents, in some case, maybe all of us are also refugee. So we didn't have our original homeland. Unless we have our original homeland, I think we are also in terms some kind of refugee. I don't know if it's a spiritual refugee. Somewhere I connected myself, you know, when I read that passage from True Parents' speech, then I connected. I remembered those brothers and sisters. And still there are a lot of brothers and sisters, even though they didn't join full-time blessing and all other things, but they are connected with us in some way. Some went to America. Even after they went to America, last year I was able to connect them to
Oh, looks like connections slowed down over there. Santosh is in Fiji, just in case you want to know.
Freezing, right?
Yeah, he's frozen. Yeah, looks like. Okay, might have to continue on. we can't wait, but we get the idea. You know, how he is sharing the feeling of, you know, we are spiritual refugees because of not, you know, no longer with our Heavenly Parent.
disconnected. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
back.
you're
So
back.
yeah, so I sometimes I connect to them. I connect to them. Yeah, a special heart for them. A special heart for them, especially the Bhutanese refugee. They stayed in Nepal, and then I myself, after reading True Parents' speech, I compared myself as a spiritual refugee and then physical refugee. Some kind of feeling, some kind of emotion. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Santosh. Okay. Someone else would like to share? Yes, Tony, is it? Okay. Just unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm always looking for an opportunity to say something, and most times I don't have any. I don't really know what to say. But on this topic of, so I think first of all, the Sunak Prize I think is really wonderful that True Mother is recognizing these incredible people, and that's really wonderful what they're doing and that they've been recognized. And I just wish sometimes that I myself was doing something sort of like that, you know, like we gone a certain course and we joined, you know, our church and we did witnessing and fundraising and things like that. But I know myself, it's those moments where where we have helped somebody, they were the best moments, you know, where you've met somebody in need and you help them in some way. And I just wish that, you know, because many of our younger people, they're finding it difficult to, you know, to connect to what we're doing. And I just wish if we had like programs to help refugees, or if we had something set up, you know, then I think it would be a lot easier for our young people to say, wow, this is this is what I want to be doing, and we really are doing a good job to help people. Because a lot of the time, I mean, we're helping people by connecting them, of course, to to God and true parents, and that's really admirable. But I think we would probably make a what's the word? I think I know I would feel God's heart a lot more if I was truly helping people rather than just talking about it. I have managed. I was in Bethlehem 2004 for 3 weeks, and when we were there, I was with a Finnish brother, and it was an incredible opportunity we had. We sort of sneaked in Israel. We went in, a couple of us, and we met some really wonderful people. And one of them was a policeman, and he's responsible for the Nativity Church when all the tourists go there. And a few years later, he said, "I'm not being paid. For some reason, I can't really remember why, but he was working hard as a policeman. They didn't have enough money to pay him, so he approached me and said, 'Tony, is there any way you can help me?' And luckily, I just received some money as a inheritance, so I was able to give him some couple of $100 or $200-300, and I sent it to him. And I really felt so good doing that. Usually I'm not in the position to give people money, but it was such a good feeling. And anyway, I won't ramble on, but I think it's such a wonderful opportunity when we see people in need, and then we know how to help them. And in my case, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a surgeon, I'm not, I've worked in language schools most of my life, teaching English. So I know that's a way of helping people. Anyway, I just wish we could sort of set up programs. I know we've got lots of doctors and nurses in our movement. We've got lots of incredibly professional people who could, and if we had something like Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, if we could have that kind of thing in our movement, then I think people would find it a lot easier to perhaps to join or be more involved, that they see us walking the talk. And I think it's so important that we walk the talk. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Thank you. Actually, we do have a number of organizations that may be happening in other countries, but not actually here. I mean, there are medical groups that have been to PNG, that have been set up by our movement. There have been activities in other places. It's just, the International Relief Foundation, has given things, and recently Mother helped with students in Fiji, and they received packages and that. I think we here aren't doing anything necessarily locally, and that could happen, but we are, as a movement, doing many projects in many countries around the world, and people have benefit. Mother has helped a lot of disaster victims in the Philippines and different places, and there are organizations set up. It's just we don't have it here, and I think it's, if we want to do it, we can do it. I mean, for 8 years I sent computers to the Solomon Islands, when I was there, and Alice and Peter know that. They help with distributing things and going to schools and educating them, and so and members in Australia knew I sent computers and other things there. So sometimes, like these heroes, they just felt it and then did it. And so I think that's what we can do too. We feel it, we can do it. And just to expand it, we have to support each other, because a lot of the things are just done individually, but we have to really do it together. There's no reason why we can't do something like that again. More concrete here in our region of Australia and New Zealand in particular. because we are meant to be the father and mother nation for Oceania. Well, we can actually do that. We can raise the funds, get the materials, and help the island nations. And we just recently, with Isla, we sent a bunch of books and clothes and sewing machines to Vanuatu just last week. So there are things happening. Don't think we're not doing anything.
No, it's good. It's good to remind ourselves, isn't it? Because it's true. It is very true. There are a lot of things going on, but just to remind ourselves. Thank you for reminding me.
Thank you. Right. Go for one more person before we do our unison prayers. Is there someone else who would like to share?
Okay.
Yes, Reverend Ito, go ahead.
Yeah, in Marshall Islands, there is the refugee from the nuclear test, U.S. nuclear test victim. Among 30 provinces, there is 5 atoll was affected. Even nearly 70 years, they still cannot return to their hometown, home island. And even recently, the United States say already radiation is over, so you can construct the house. The name is Longerap Atoll, and they start construction, but to find out, still enough very danger radiation level, so they stop the project. And in reality, it's a many political issue. United States couldn't support those atoll enough, and some politicians were fighting with U.S. government. But people still, about nearly 70 years, living in different part of the, even our peace embassy, surrounding our peace embassy is Bikini Atoll refugee living there. And also the Keizai Note, the president, former president is from Bikini Atoll. His father is some victim. So inside of our country, there is a nuclear test because of this Cold War between Soviet Union and the United States. Because of 67 time nuclear tests, they could keep something peace during, so they're the victim of those, the Cold War era. Yeah, they receive many medical support, etc., but not enough. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. There's a lot of sobering thoughts and things to remember. Let's keep that in mind, all the refugees around the world, as we pray together in our 7-minute unison prayers. So I'll just share the screen and we can begin that. Okay, let's offer our 7-minute unison prayer. Adieu. Adieu. Thank you, everyone. It's been great to see you all, and have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye now.
Bye, everybody. Have a good day.
See ya.